So in this next segment, what we'd like to talk about is promoting your music, promoting your songs, promoting your career, promoting your artistry, because it's not enough just to write songs. You have to let people know that you exist, right?
Absolutely.
So let's go ahead and just get right to this and define what promotion is. So promotion is the process of informing your target audience about the features and benefits of your products and services with the intention of stimulating a buying response, okay? So let me go ahead and do that again. Promotion is the process, right, of informing your target audience. So you need to let people, know that you exist. You need to let them know what it is that you do, and specifically your target audience, right? And what you need to let them know about is about the features and benefits of your products and services. So the benefit is in what's in it for the target audience, right? So before, when Michael was talking, we was talking about really understand from an objective point of view, what your songs can do for the scene in a movie, what your songs can do for that television commercial, how your songs can fit with this particular song plugger, right? That's very, very important because you have to get into the minds of the people that you're doing business with, and you have to be able to share that with them. Now, they will also creatively know how your music can be used, but by you knowing that, it also can really help you to understand who you should be pitching in the first place, right? Remember that. Okay? So, and the whole idea behind this is that you want to stimulating a buying action, essentially. So what that means is it's not enough to have 100,000 Instagram friends, that, don't come to your shows, You need to have people that are actually going to end up buying, what you do and end up doing business with you, because otherwise, you guys, it is just one big pen pal club. It is just one big hobby. So this has to transform into sales.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's 10 promotional mix strategies that I'm going to discuss, and we're not going to discuss all of them. I'm just going to discuss a couple of them. And first, I just want to let you know that there's more to promotion than the internet. Okay. Now I know that a lot of people use the internet today, and so that might be top of your list. But there's other ways that people communicate. People aren't just one-dimensional. There is the internet. There's word of mouth. There's guerrilla. There is radio. There is sponsorships. There's publicity. There is advertising, there is direct marketing, there is face-to-face selling, and there's sales promotions. And I'm only going to talk about a couple of these, so let's knock these out.
Yeah, so let's hit the internet first.
Okay, so I'm going to just really talk quickly about internet. I mean, some of this stuff, you guys, this is basic and you already know about, but let's just hit this up. It's probably important that you have your own website because, it gives you an opportunity to show off your brand, to show off your personality and style, to show off your look. Facebook, Instagram, it all has essentially the same look, but with your personal website, it allows you to sort of demonstrate your brand. This is your home. This is the way you're decorating the home. This is the way your personality shines. So having your own website is important. And by the way, who knows? I don't know, MySpace isn't around anymore. Is it possible Facebook isn't around one day? I heard some stuff on the way here, actually. In any case, all right, so moving on. Personal blogs is actually something else, right? So, maybe perhaps having your own personal blog that, has, daily news about what's going on, maybe your life on the road, maybe you in the studio, maybe a day in the life. But just make sure that if you do a blog, you really post a lot, because if you don't, it just looks stagnant, okay? Now, another thing really quick is getting on other people's blogs. That's really actually even more important, because if I do a Google check and the only person that's talking about you is you, not really that good, right? So you want to get other bloggers and tastemakers writing about you as well. So get them to review your music, get them to play your music, which, by the way, could even lead to getting on playlists on Spotify and some of the other digital platforms out there as well. Because a lot of times the curators of those playlists are looking for the tastemakers to see what they're doing. So that's actually something important too. Social media. You guys know about social media, so there's nothing that I'm going to be able to tell you other than this. Social media is about being social, okay? Now you might be going, what is he saying about this? Whenever would you walk up to somebody with a bag over your head and say, hi, I want to be your friend? And you might be asking, what am I talking about? You know how many times I get asked by that like generic default like Twitter egghead from somebody saying, hey, Bobby, would you be my friend? And I'm like going, why don't you have a profile picture, for Christ's sake? I mean, are you serious, right? Or how many times do I get a link? How many times did you walk up to somebody in a club and go, yo, dropping Monday, check it out?
Yeah.
You know how many times I get a link by artists that say that? I'm like, how about, hi, Bobby, my name is, right?
Engage with me.
So as simple as this sounds, be social on your social networks. I mean, right? This is a really, really important concept, okay? Also, another thing is, on your social networks, is all you're doing talking about yourself? I mean, imagine that, right? Hey, Michael, guess what I ate today? Hey, Michael, here's a picture of my food. Hey, Michael, look how great I am. Hey, Michael, look how great my friends are. I mean, if you knew somebody like that, right, in real life, you'd think they're pompous and you wouldn't want to hang out with them, right?
Yeah.
But think about what people do on their social networks. That's all they do, right? So how about like maybe joining in to the conversation instead of like putting out, maybe listening to what other people are saying and interjecting, at a reasonable and right time, right? Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
All right, so how about sponsorships?
Okay, sponsorships. Let's talk about that real quick as well. Sponsorships are another great way to actually inform people about, what it is that you do. And get your name out there, essentially. And a lot of times you can actually get your name out there a lot quicker than you would just by like playing local clubs and you're trying to, to maybe even network. So a lot of times corporate sponsors, that tie in to the psychographics of your fans, meaning the activities, interests, and opinions of your fans. Maybe let's just say, for example, you have a certain type of fan and they're interested in doing certain things, and this product, serves that audience. Maybe that corporation would be interested in doing a sponsorship with you. So a lot of times, big companies are reaching out to artists to find these types of partnerships. And there's some amazing, opportunities out there. So for example, Jeep, not too long ago, sponsored a couple independent artists to drive their Jeeps across the country. And all they had to do was sort of blog about their travels and take pictures of them, playing their guitar, like sitting in the back of like, with the back opened up and stuff like that. And then they got them on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno and actually performed on Jay Leno. Now think about that, as an opportunity. That might actually do more for you than playing your local clubs for several years.
It's true.
Another thing that you could do with regards to sponsorships are endorsements, so in other words, sponsoring, equipment. So a lot of times when I was a professional drummer, I was sponsoring Tama and Dean Markley, and I was sponsoring Pro Mark sticks, and, and what they would do is they put my advertisements in big magazines and say Bobby Borg plays this, and all I had to do was essentially wear their shirts and that kind of thing. So those are some cool opportunities. What else?
Publicity/public relations.
Okay. Some really, really cool things that you can do here. First of all, with publicity and public relations, you should probably have a really good press kit together, and that could be physical, and that could also be what's called an EPK, electronic press kit as well.
Yep.
You can look into a company called Sonic Bids that can help you with that. And essentially what that is just having the right tools, the right bios, the right pictures, the right things to give to people so that when they ask about you, you can help to inform them about what it is that you do. A couple other things, networking. We talked about this before. Know where to network. Know where to get out in your local scenes. Go see other bands play, because guess what? Other bands that are happening, most likely you're going to see industry people there as well, especially when these bands are the bands that are the up and coming ones. You'll see them, the magazines there. You might see the A&R people there, So get out and watch other talent in your neighborhood, so to speak. Get out to award shows, become part of the scene if you want to be, in the scene. Some other things, when you perform, you might think about performing and benefiting a charity. A lot of times when you benefit charities, people take a little bit more interest in you simply because, it's not you just promoting yourself, it's you promoting a cause. So sometimes people rally against you. Also right here in Los Angeles, local TV stations, you have KTLA. kind of like your Kelly and Regis type shows. A lot of times your local television stations will take you on if you have something interesting. You're promoting a record, you're supporting some sort of charity, etc. What else?
All right, so let's remove technology from this and do face-to-face.
Okay,
Old-fashioned.
yeah, face-to-face. I mean, this is really super important. Being able to look eye to eye to somebody and be able to inform them about what it is you do is such a huge skill, and it's such a big part of promotion. And unfortunately these days, because everybody is so tied to their phones, are getting even worse at. But if you are good at this, this is golden. This is golden, and you need to become better at this. You need to be able to go up to people at seminars and shake their hand and look in their eyes and make them laugh and make them feel good about themselves. And the good thing about face-to-face is that I can read you and I can see if you're making that like get away from me kind of face, and I can adjust my pitch. A poster can't do that. A social blog can't do that.
That's very true.
If you're looking at something, you go, I don't know, this is kind of lame. The web page can't jump out and go, oh, well, no, Michael, I'm actually not lame, But I can do that with you when I'm talking to you at a seminar. I can sense, I can back off a little bit, talk about some other stuff, So that's the cool thing about, face-to-face promotion. So if you can get an opportunity to talk to a music supervisor, you can get an opportunity to talk to a Michael Ames, you can get an opportunity to talk to a publisher or to a booker, and you're good at face-to-face, that is the best way to actually sell yourself. Not an email, not a text, not a tweet. It's me and you just talking and doing business, So that's a huge one. What else?
Last one before we wrap up this segment, advertising.
Yeah, so advertising, I mean, web advertising is probably the best way to go here, promoting your tweets, Facebook ads, promoting your YouTube to actually get more views and things like that. That's still probably a cool way to use your advertising money. I guess if you're like, maybe you're teaching lessons, or maybe you have a production studio or something, using directories and yellow pages still could be good. And the reason why is because when people go to the yellow pages, they're going to buy, right? They're looking for a studio. You don't go and look at the yellow pages just for the fun of it, So that's one of the reasons why that's good. But otherwise, like newspaper and magazine articles, you really have to be willing to do it a lot in order to get really the eyeballs and stuff. So, I mean, you guys, I could keep on going, but I'll tell you what, as our question of the day, right? Let's go ahead and hit that, our question. How can the book, Music Marketing for the DIY Musician, help you with regards to promotion and marketing overall? Because, I mean, I could keep on going. I mean, we only tackled 5 of those or whatever. There's another, 5 to go and so much more. So how can this book help you with regards to understanding marketing? We're trying to break down the basics, you guys, so that this sticks. Actually, now we're coming to the end. We're going to do our wrap-up.
Yeah, we are.
Right?
It's sticking.
That's it. So you guys, we'll be right back in a second.
Take care.